everywhere. GBS.
Good evening and thank you for joining us here at GBS News at 9. My name is Beatrice Njeri and our sign language interpreter is Paul Mathenge. Today, as we observe the 59th Labor Day, we are pleased to recognize the invaluable contributions made by individuals across every industry and sector. To begin our bulletin tonight, President William Ruto urged doctors to end their strike as the government works towards meeting all their demands at unspecified time in the future. Speaking during the 59th Labor Day celebrations at Uhuru Gardens, Ruto remarked that the government had addressed most of their demands by the medics. Here is more on this. President William Ruto has called on doctors to end their strike and ensure the continuation of essential services. In his Labor Day address at Uhuru Gardens in Nairobi, Ruto told medics that the government is unable to meet all their demands wholly due to financial constraints.
Nawauliza hata madaktari wetu, tumeweka kwenye meza yale serikali iko tayari kufanya. Kati ya mambo nafikiri 19, serikali imekubali mambo 17. Imebaki 2 kwa sababu haiwezekani kwa mambo ya fedha, na wauliza madaktari wetu warudi kazini. Mambo tutarekebisha, uchumi tutazalisha, na kila mtu atapata haki yake tukisonga mbele.
Since March 14th, doctors went on strike and have been protesting the government's failure to post medical interns and obey a 2017 collective bargaining agreement on doctors' labor terms. The government has presented a 70,000 Kenya shillings offer for the medical interns in place of the 206,000 Kenya shillings set by the collective bargaining agreement, which the doctors have turned down.
Our help is in our solidarity. And we will not go back to work if one doctor is affected. I must also say that the whole of public sector unions, they know that if they bastardize the KMPDU CBA, then there's no any CBA which is safe.
As the strike entered its 49th day, President Ruto urged doctors to consider their strike's effect on the country's healthcare and resume their duties for what he described as the public's well-being. Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers Bomet Branch has urged Teacher Service Commission to halt the deployment of teachers to other counties. The team say the transfer would disrupt academic activities. Bomet County Kuppet Executive Secretary Paul Kimeto urged the commission to confirm and promote teachers in their current station. At the same time, he blamed the Teacher Service Commission for neglecting certain counties and turning a blind eye to their promotions despite constant reminders from the union. He termed the gesture as going against the labor laws and that of the Constitution of 2010, Articles 4, 27 and 37, which calls for non-discrimination of workers.
To do with security, because after all, these teachers are coming from far away and they will be living far away from home. We have teachers as far off counties from here, around 400 kilometers away. So there is nothing like security issue here. It is a matter of looking for a space for their friends. It is a matter of interest to those who are doing this kind of thing.
We are telling the TSC to actively stop issuing letters for teachers to go and take over the position for our brothers and sisters in different schools. Up to including teachers, I think this is an orchestrated scheme, according to us. When our teachers for interview, they are deliberately fail, so that they wait for room so that they float the balances knowingly. So we are going to invite, we are writing with my brother to SEC and all the other agencies to do with corruption so that they investigate what is really happening in Bomet. They give us comprehensive report. If necessary, we'll take legal action so that we stop this thing once and for all.
We shall never be divided.
The world gathered on Wednesday to celebrate Labor Day, which has a sense of urgency for renewed commitment to social justice as the world steers through the complexity of the current times, challenged with, among others, climate change and the rapid evolution of the workplace due to technological advancements. In Kenya, President William Ruto led the marking of the first May event set aside for workers' interest, where he called for an increase in the minimum wage to ensure the workers are fairly compensated for their contributions to the nation's economy. In his address during the 59th International Labour Day celebrations at Uhuru Gardens, President Ruto directed Labour Cabinet Secretary Lawrence Bore to spearhead the process of raising the minimum wage by at least 6%. However, the Federation of Kenya Employers has refuted the announcement, saying there is no framework that guides the increment of the minimum wage. Recently, the government held a wage bill conference in a bid to reduce the government expenditure on the payroll that has ballooned and now claimed a huge chunk of the government's revenue.
You know, it's very rare that we get an opportunity to make an appeal on behalf of workers. Majority of the employees of this country are the civil servants. It recently came to my awareness that when we have social houses, the price for civil servants is double, and yet the houses are exactly identical. I would have thought that if we're going to charge the civil servants more, the houses would have been slightly better. But to come up with 100% price double for the civil servants,
Your Excellency, these last few days, I've heard the Secretary General of Kotu pushing for a general wage increase or saying he'll push for a general wage increase. And I understand where he's coming from because the workers are struggling with a reduction in their take-home pay. But the reality is that there is no legal framework that supports general wage increases in Kenya. This, in fact, would negate freedom of enterprise. The determination of wage review beyond the minimum wages that we often discuss, which are set by the state, is done through negotiation of collective bargaining agreements or at employment contract level.
And next year we will be with you, and other years to come, and we will give you support as a pressure group. And when we are called tukiitwa tutaitika sisi. Research yetu inatuambia, Your Excellency. But I don't know what is in your pocket. Kama unaweza kunja macho, because Jacqueline said, oh, general wage increase, that is employer now. It's not anchored on any law. We must have wages council, sit and discuss and see how this general wage works. Let me remind my sister here, my twin sister. In 1972, when our economy was not performing, we were doing badly. Then the late president, the founding father of this nation, Mr. Jomo Kenyatta, announced general wage increase at that time of 15%, can you imagine, to everybody. And he also asked employers to increase their workforce by 10% in order to alleviate or to reduce unemployment in our country. Which law is it anchored to?
We have been intentional on creating additional opportunities for young people in Kenya to work. It is also the reason why we are reorganizing labor migration, why we are signing bilateral labor agreements, because it is my intention that every year we should be able to send 250,000 Kenyans to work in different parts of the world so that we can enhance and we can increase the number of people who are working abroad and also enhance our remittances from abroad. I am very happy that from last year to this year, we have increased our remittances by about 50 billion. And it is my intention that in the next 5 years, we should take our remittances from $4 billion to $10 billion.
179 people dead, 185,000 displaced, and 90 missing since the onset of the heavy rains that have battered the country. Kenya faces an unprecedented crisis as the heavy rains continue to wreak havoc across the country, leaving devastation and tragedy in their wake. The nation grapples with the overwhelming impact of the ongoing deluge. Susan Nganga with the details.
Since the onset of the heavy rains, the death toll has tragically risen to 179, with 90 people reported missing and a staggering 185,000 displaced. In the capital city, Nairobi, the situation remains dire. Thika Road, a major artery, became impassable Wednesday morning near Kenyatta University and Juja due to flooding. This has disrupted traffic flow along the Thika superhighway, particularly affecting the Thika-bound lanes under the Juja flyover area. Additionally, Githurai and Mwiki areas have been severely affected by the heavy rains during the night. The service lane from Kasarani towards Githurai, particularly at the car wash area, has been submerged with floods. Additionally, Githurai and Mwiki areas have been severely affected. In response to the crisis, the Kenya Urban Roads Authority has announced the partial closure of Enterprise Road, Eastern Bypass, and the Thika Bypass within Nairobi and Kiambu counties. Meanwhile, Catholic Church leader Pope Francis has sent a message of goodwill to Kenya amid the devastating floods. Taking to Twitter, His Holiness Pope Francis said he is spiritually connected to the people of Kenya and equally disturbed by the natural disasters that has so far claimed the lives of over 160 people. The Pope's message comes amid floods in Mai Mahiu and other parts of the country. In Mai Mahiu, over 70 people were killed and 20 others missing after an old dam broke its banks and swept homes and property while people were sleeping. Additionally, in Murang'a, 6 individuals perished in landslides, with several others sustaining injuries. Tragedy has also struck Garissa County, where over 23 individuals are still unaccounted for after a boat capsized on the swollen Tana River. Rescue operations are still underway, but the situation remains precarious. Susan Nganga, GBS News.
Kenya has today celebrated its 59th Labor Day at Uhuru Gardens in Lang'ata, a celebration that was attended by Kenya's top-profile leaders, including President William Ruto, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, Labour Cabinet Secretary Florence Bore, and COTU Secretary General Francis Atwoli, among others. But this celebration was meant to be celebrated by the workers' developed political arm wings. Davis Karani with the full report.
As Kenya marked its 59th Labor Day celebration in Lang'ata, Nairobi County, the Nairobi County Governor Johnson Sakaja used the opportunity to rubbish those criticizing him of having failed in his leadership and assured COTU Secretary General Francis Atwoli not to worry about his face in the city's leadership.
Ningependa kukuambia papa, usisikie uchungu, ni kawaida, ni siasa. Na hiyo siasa huendelea, sisi ni viongozi. Ile kazi ambayo tunafanya Nairobi, kuna watu ambao wanataka tupoteze focus. Hatutapoteza focus.
Atwoli, who has been a solemn defender of Sakaja, whom he alleges as his son, said that Sakaja should be given a humble time to work for the people of Nairobi even without being victimized, and if there is a challenge arising within leaders, they should seek for a better way of addressing it, but not blaming each other.
His position might not be satisfactory, but we must develop channels such as the one I've developed, and I communicate to him on issues of informal sector in Nairobi and what is happening and how we can make our city to be beautiful.
President William Ruto, who was in attendance, also urged all leaders to work in solidarity for Kenyans equally and sell their agenda based on ideology without focusing on tribal issues.
Nawauliza viongozi tuwache makelele, hasa wale viongozi ambao wanatafuta mbinu na njia ya kugawanya Wakenya kwa misingi ya ukabila. Na washauri viongozi, ukabila haiwezi kubadilisha maisha ya mtu yeyote.
The president's sentiments come out just a day after Nairobi ODM chairperson George Aladwa said that Sakaja is being attacked because of his ethnical community.
Sakaja apewe nafasi yake ya kufanya kazi. Yeye apply kuzaliwa kabila fulani ndiye akuwe gavana.
As political tempers run high and several accusations unanswered, questions keep increasing for Nairobi County as Senator Arwoba demands for Governor Sakaja to account for the 840 million shillings allocated for disaster management in Nairobi County.
Governor Sakaja owes us an explanation of what he's doing with the money for disaster management. And other than that, Mr. Speaker, they should also consider if they cannot, because I think, and I have a feeling, Governor Sakaja is unable to manage this county, Mr. Speaker. We, as a house that is here to protect devolution, can give him other options.
Davis Karani, GBS News, Nairobi.
Many thanks for joining this live broadcast. We have a lot lined up for you in our new segment tonight. But first, let us take a quick break. We'll be right back with even more.
Hi guys, welcome and welcome again to yet another amazing episode of the You Have Sugar Taste.
As unaamka asubuhi unapata na sufuria yako ngara juu. It's not easy. Maji ilikuwa
no one person can fix this. Spoke of the ule God atakuja kusaidia.
Kwenda hivi dona kaona liaje nyinyi abiria lakini kidogo bae.
Bae acha niruke.
Kaangwa.
Unaona haiko siku na abiria alikuwa hapo ndani akasema aanze kumwambia CSK la mkuu
na si the first the only person. Kuna mingi
I think alikuwa very vulgar. Venye jamaa ndio yake nilibeba. Kuna venye tu aliongea akamchekelea
nilikwambia na usikii.
Ya pale hivyo isipe.
Yes. So weka simu chini.
Ni mauma nje.
There is no animal that produces.
Iko wala Google hapo. Hata kama flamingo ni
hiyo tunaenda kufanya homework.
Just to be clear. Napenda kuchallenge watu kama hao. Sasa nimenaji challenge mimi mwenyewe jisikii.
Saizi ni ile time CSK la mkuu ataswim paku.
Ataswim paku.
Okay.
That is kind of joke swim.
Exactly.
Different kidogo lakini naona hiyo. Lakini inatoaje nini hapo?
Makes sense.
Kila mtu anaishi maisha on a different level. Au nyumba zao ni mabati. Sasa hiyo mabati pia inaenda ambao ishakuliwa na imeenda. Wewe kila kitu hiyo kitu hizi floods zikaisha inaweza kuwa grau moja safi tunaweka tena studio.
Mnapanda hadi mahindi.
Tunaweka.
Nakwambia kuna floods zitaisha kuna mtu mahindi zitakuwa zinamea kwa nyumba juu kuna cereal shop ilioshwa mahindi maragwe. So na mvua itaisha mvune tu mahindi. But anyway.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back. You're still watching GBS News 9. County government of Kirinyaga has launched investigations to establish what caused the collapse of a 4-story building that killed a 40-year-old woman at Karia Village, Kirinyaga Central. Deputy Governor David Githanda, who together with the members of the County Disaster Preparedness and Response Committee visited the scene, say the county had deployed structural engineers to site and inspect the structure so as to establish the cause of the collapse. Neighbors said the house came down early Wednesday when the deceased, identified as Lydia Wawera Mugo, was asleep with her 2 children. One of the floors of the building hit the bedroom in which the woman was sleeping, killing her on the spot. The 2 kids, who were rescued by the neighbors unhurt, were sleeping in a separate room from that of their mother. While conveying message of condolences from the Governor Anne Waiguru to the family of the deceased, Githanda termed the death as regrettable and promised the county government support. Experts say that such a probe normally involves taking samples of the strength of the concrete, the size of the steel used, and down there at the bottom, and the geotech engineering firm would do borings underneath the building and to the foundation areas in the piles to establish the condition of the soil.
Tukakuja kuona hiyo duru ni ya nini. Tukapata ni mama ameenda ameangukiwa na nyumba. Kukuja tukapata kama ametolewa, amelalishwa hapo nje na akakuja akachukuliwa na gari. Juu ile chuma ilikuwa inajenga, ilikuwa chuma konda sana.
We are gathered here as a county. There are two teams which are here. We have the county disaster response and management team, which is from the county. We also here with the county disaster preparedness and response committee, which comprises of the national government and the county government. Both teams are here. And we came here because we were informed that this building has collapsed, which is behind us here. And the preliminary details that we have is that in the house which was affected, there were 3 people. We had the one who passed on, and she's Lady Wawera Mogo, aged 40 years. She was in a separate bedroom from her 2 children, and her children are Jacob Moremi, who is 16 years, and Collins Waroi, 10 years. We were informed that around midnight is when the building collapsed. At the moment, we just came to see what is happening. The county technical team will come and start its investigations right away as an emergency so that they can now give us a report as to what happened, what may have caused the collapse of this building, so that we will know whether it is floods or well, building. We'll be told by that technical team, the complex of engineers, and they are now on their way to this place. What we can say at the moment is that we give our message of condolence from Her Excellency Governor Anne Mwamba and ourselves who are here, and also to inform the family that we be with them. We shall assist in this matter. You know, we shall condole with them from today henceforth until this matter is finalized, and also to assure the public and Kirinyaga residents that we shall endeavor to see to our technical team will make sure that they unravel. They know what happened. Probably by tomorrow we should be able now to know what has happened. Because today is a public holiday, they were not working. If they were working, they would all be here. And some of them were gathered. We had a tree planting ceremony.
Government has ordered evacuations after heavy rains flooded lodges and camps in the Masai Mara after the Telek River burst its banks, stranding tourists. In a statement on Wednesday, Tourism Cabinet Secretary Alfred Mutua ordered all hotels and camps bordering rivers in the national parks and reserves to prepare for evacuation. Here's our story and more in business.
Tourists were today evacuated by air from Masai Mara National Reserve after more than a dozen hotels, lodges and camps were flooded as heavy rains continue to batter the country. Tourist accommodation facilities were submerged after the Telek River within Masai Mara broke its banks earlier today. The reserve in southwestern Kenya is a popular tourist destination as it features the annual wildebeest migration from the Serengeti in Tanzania. The Kenya Red Cross said it rescued 36 people by air and 25 others by land. The Narok County government has said it deployed 2 helicopters to carry out evacuations in the expansive conservation area. On the same note, the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority (EPRA) has directed retail fuel stations affected by flooding to temporarily cease operations due to the risk of fuel contamination. The authorities move camps in response to heavy rains that pose a threat to damaging petroleum underground storage tanks, potentially compromising the quality of fuel products and causing damage to vehicles. EPRA emphasized that affected petrol stations must assess the extent of flooding, undertake cleanup efforts and verify the quality of their products before resuming operations. Hilary Kabila, GBS News.
The maternal mortality rate in Siaya County stands at 491 per 100,000, way above the global recommended figures. County Executive Committee Member for Health, Dr. Martin Konyango, has said According to Dr. Konyango, the county's neonatal mortality rate is also high, standing at 7.25% per 1,000 live births against the Sustainable Development Goal targets of 12 per 1,000 live births. Dr. Konyango, however, said that efforts were being made to reduce the figures to required levels, adding that the county government was committed to improving emergency medical services for expectant mothers and newborns. He was speaking in his office when he signed a public-private partnership with the Rescue Corps aimed at enhancing maternal and neonatal medical services in Siaya County. The team said that timely intervention can prevent up to 75% of maternal deaths and half newborn deaths, hence the need for improved emergency medical services.
The county currently faces challenges with maternal and neonatal mortality rates, which exceed the Sustainable Development Goal targets. And the maternal mortality rate, we are not doing very well in Siaya because the set standards are supposed to be 70 per 100,000 deliveries. But we are way up above that. The exact figures you will see in the brief. At the same time, the neonatal mortality rate, the approximate recommended figure is 12 deaths.
Very fast. So we'll be using our technology to help coordinate those responses. We'll be working with the county through their referral system, through private and public ambulances. And as we said in this pilot year, the first pilot year, this will be a PPP where there is most mothers will not pay. And we are hoping that from the findings of the year one, we'll be able to roll it out further into year 2, year 3, so that we bring down these numbers from 491 per 100,000 live deaths for mothers. We want to bring that down to 70. That's a huge task. We're also going to try and be very innovative and use boat ambulances too to support the islands. And we'll be very excited to take the media with us through this journey. We see the learnings and we hope we will deliver some good outcomes. 1 year from now, we'll be telling you that we've brought down this number. I salute the Siaya County.
In a significant development on the country's political landscape, Speaker of the National Assembly Moses Wetangula greenlit a motion seeking the impeachment of Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mithika Linturi. The motion, spearheaded by Bumula Member of Parliament Jack Wamboka, has gained traction in Parliament, with Wetangula acknowledging its compliance with the constitutional and parliamentary procedures. Here are the details.
Order. Order. You can cheer after I finished my ruling.
The Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mithika Linturi could be the first close ally of President William Ruto to be kicked out of the cabinet after the National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula allowed an impeachment motion against him.
In view of the foregoing, I find that the proposed special motion meets the applicable procedural requirements for it to be admitted to the next stage. Order. Order. You can cheer after I finished my ruling.
The motion by Bumula Member of Parliament Jack Wamboka seeks to throw Linturi out of the cabinet for gross misconduct, gross violation of the Constitution, and committing a crime under national law.
The motion is rooted in grave allegations of gross misconduct, violation of constitutional provisions, and serious breaches of public trust. The evidence presented before the Assembly paints a distressing picture of negligence, mismanagement, and potential criminal activities within the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock Development under Honorable Linturi's leadership.
While greenlighting the motion, Speaker Wetangula was satisfied that it met all the requirements of the law and the standing orders and allowed MP Wamboka to move the motion of impeachment.
The proposed motion by the member for Bumula constituency meets the applicable procedural requirements of Standing Order 64 and 66 for it to be admitted and considered by the House.
On his part, The Agriculture CS has affirmed that he is not concerned by the efforts of the MPs to impeach him over the alleged fertilizer fiasco. Linturi asserted that he understands his role as the boss of the Agriculture docket, and he only reports to President William Ruto.
Sasa unafikiria mimi ni mtu wa kutishwa ama kuhangaishwa na watu? Hapana. Mimi ninajua ile maneno watu wanaongea juu yake hawaelewi pale iko pale haiko. Mimi ndio kiongozi wa ile wizara, na mimi I only report to my boss, na anaelewa hiyo maneno, na mutajua ukweli wa maneno before the end of the week.
Signed by at least 110 members of parliament and seconded by Laikipia North Member of Parliament Sarah Korere, the move is a major threat to Linturi's tenure in the cabinet, as several members of parliament from President William Ruto's UDA are backing the bill. Hilary Kabila, GBS News.
Do keep your comments coming in through our SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa on all our social media handles. On that note, let us take a quick commercial break.
So through the four gospel books, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, John, we can know the heart of Jesus in depth. And the Jesus that we can feel him through the scriptures, and I'm very thankful about that. Jesus Christ came to this earth for our sins. He carried our sins, and he was crucified, and he received the punishment for sins, and he was put into the tomb and resurrected in 3 days. This is the gospel that we speak about how Jesus died for our sins. The purpose of Jesus being crucified, he was crucified to pay for our sins. And through Jesus being crucified, clearly our sins have been washed clean. However, unfortunately, many people still say that they are sinners.
Mtu alini-inspire, let's say my husband, because yeye ndo alikuwa hiyo biashara.
So maybe unaweza tuambia hizo challenges zile unapitia, then how do you overcome them?
Na like sometimes hadi nakupeanga do, nilikuwa nimeshikilia kitu yako, ukirudisha do yangu na kupatia.
Kwa hivyo it's like a
unajua, let me tell you, uzuri ya biashara, ukiwa umeka useme vitu mingi pamoja. Like ukikosa kuuza sockets, utauza viatu. Ukikosa kuuza viatu, furniture zitaenda. Environment. Mtu au learn environment kwanza, unaona. Unajineza kwa place akuuzi mandazi. So nikiweka mandazi, kutakuwa na place ya kuuzwa mandazi. So they all come. Mtu anaishi Githurai, unataka kwenda kumwekea Air Force za box. Atanunua saa ngapi?
Na mwenye ananunua anajua mahali zinatoka.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to the broadcast, and now to matters international news. Over 10,000 faithfuls filled St. Mark's Square in Venice on Monday, joining Pope Francis for Mass in a rare public appearance. The 87-year-old pontiff, facing health challenges, delivered prayers for the suffering around the world, mostly in Haiti, a nation caught up amid relentless gang violence. Here are the details.
More than 10,000 people crowded into St. Mark's Square in Venice, northern Italy, pray for the Mass with Pope Francis, the pontiff trip representing an increasingly rare outing for the 87-year-old who had been tangled by health problems. He prayed Sunday, April 28th for the people of Haiti.
I am thinking of Haiti, where a state of emergency is in effect and the population is in despair because of the collapse of the healthcare system, food shortages, and violence that is forcing people to flee.
Amidst relentless gang violence, a state of emergency was enforced in the Quest Department, where the Haitian capital Port-au-Prince is located until May 3rd. The UN Integrated Office in Haiti reported that armed violence killed and injured over 2,505 people between January and March. The Pope also remembered people living in other zones of insecurity.
I think of the tormented Ukraine, Palestine, and Israel, the Rohingya, and so many peoples suffering from war and violence. May the God of peace enlighten hearts so that the will for dialogue and reconciliation may grow in everyone.
Francis traveled to Venice to visit the Holy See Pavilion at the Biennale Contemporary Art Show and meet with the people who created it. The Pope is scheduled to travel to Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, East Timor, and Singapore in September.
Innovative pest control methods have been taking flight at Cape Town Winery in the Low Wine Estate that has adopted a unique approach enlisting the help of 1,600 Indian runner ducks in the tackle pests like snails and insects. Here is more on this thing.
On Vergenoeg Farm, we are proudly regenerative farming. By regenerative, we also have the ducks that you will see. From the morning, the ducks will come from their shed. Come at around about 9 a.m. They will come and stand by the manor house, where we'll be exposed to all the people that are coming to have breakfast and also visiting our tasting room, so that they can see our soldiers of the farm that we use for pest control to the vineyards. And then that's where they come back from their work again from the vineyard. This goes to the winemaking, because the more you use chemicals into your vineyards, the more it affects the quality of your wine. But the more you use natural predators into your vineyards, the more your quality becomes better.
At the World Economic Forum on Sunday in Riyadh, Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim took the stage to address the pressing issue of Gaza, criticizing Western nations for what he deemed a complete abdication of responsibility. His remarks underscore the situation's gravity in the region, highlighting the need for global attention and action. Here are the details.
Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim criticized the Western countries for what he claimed to be a complete abdication of responsibility regarding the issue of Gaza during his speech at the World Economic Forum in Riyadh on Sunday.
We see this in this light. So you must continue to play this role to engage, particularly those in the developing economies, emerging economies. Notwithstanding the complex situation, the turbulent times affecting the region, particularly the anger, frustration over the Palestinian issue and the Gaza crisis, that shows complete abdication of responsibility, particularly countries in the West. But notwithstanding that, the kingdom wants not to be completely distracted. The issue is important, is fundamental to us.
The Prime Minister mentioned that his country had established strong engagement with the United States and Europe, while also maintaining excellent bilateral ties with China, South Korea and Japan, while also maintaining excellent bilateral ties with China, South Korea and Japan.
Malaysia is again fortunate in a region that is possibly most peaceful in the world, and the fastest growing economy. So we have to steer that policy issue of governance, of fiscal responsibility. At the same time, do not lose sight of the key priorities which is relevant in this session. The issue of globalization, of interdependence. We adopt a very fierce foreign policy position to engage and depend on the support, collaboration, investments from the West, United States, Europe. At the same time, maintain excellent bilateral relations with China, Korea, Japan.
With the theme Global Collaboration, Growth, and Energy for Development, this two-day gathering reportedly brought together over 1,000 global leaders from 92 countries.
We have a very vibrant, youthful population interested in discoveries by themselves and highly ready for technology, good education, committed to growth, who are able to manage that and partition the economic drawback and the fallout of the subsidy removal.
Our country and that background, I've just...
That's our local currency find its level and compete with the rest of the world currency.
Attendees included heads of state and government, through leaders from both public and private sectors, as well as representatives from international organizations, academic institutions, and non-governmental organizations.
And there are perhaps early signs of some benefit from that. So, as an example,
the capital formation that is necessary to drive the economy, like agriculture, food security, innovation, technology advancement, must be an inclusive program of the entire world. No one should be left behind.
I'm sure my brother here, President Tinubu of Nigeria.
The fear of lack of capital in Africa, stigmatization. And I'm glad the world is recognizing the need that the type of population growth that Africa experiences, the diversity of its resources, must be married with its economic opportunity.
Thank you.
The initiative taken by the kingdom and the issues being addressed and focused, of course, with the support of the World Economic Forum, would be of enormous benefit to us and ASEAN as a region.
Jennifer Macau, GBS News.
Thank you, Jennifer Macau, for that detailed report. And now for sports lovers, it is time for your most anticipated part of the news, the sports news. Let's get sporty. Athletics Kenya has officially named the athletes that will represent Kenya in the marathon races during the August Olympic Games in Paris, France. Legendary athlete Eliud Kipchoge, Benson Kipruto, and Alexander Mutiso will represent the men's team, while Helen Obiri, Bridget Kosgei, and Perez Jepchilchil turn out for the women's team. Timothy Kiplagat and Sharon Lokedi will reserve athletes for the respective marathon teams. President hoped that Kipchoge, who will be defending his title, will be able to be the first athlete to win the Olympic marathon title for the third time in a row. Tokyo Marathon champion Benson Kipruto, alongside the London Marathon champion Alexander Munyao, completes the three-man team selected at AK and announced in Eldoret on Wednesday morning. Timothy Kiplagat, Tokyo Marathon silver medalist, was named as a reserve in the men's team. Eliud Kipchoge won the 2016 Rio Olympics at a time of 2 hours, 8 minutes and 44 seconds and successfully defended the title by winning the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, clocking 2 hours, 8 minutes and 38 seconds. 2022 New York Marathon winner Sharon Okedi was named as a reserve in the women team, with the AK president stating that the reserves will go all the way, while at the same time hoping that nothing would happen to the core team. Helen Obiri secured the Boston Marathon in 2023 after clocking 2 hours, 21 minutes and 38 seconds and defended it successfully in April 15th, winning at a time game of 2 hours, 22 seconds and 27 seconds. The Kenya Women Under-17 national team Junior Starlets has entered the third day of its residential training Tuesday, April 30th, in preparation for their upcoming two-legged third-round FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup qualifier against Ethiopia. They will begin the first leg in Ethiopia on Friday, May 10th, followed by the second leg at home on Sunday, May 19th. All players have reported to camp ahead of the qualifier. Head coach Mildred Cheche is confident in her team's preparedness ahead of the qualifiers, stating the team is scheduled to travel to Ethiopia on Wednesday, May 8th. After the two legs, the winner of the aggregate will proceed to the fourth and final round, where they will face either Djibouti or Burundi. Following this match, the victor secures an automatic qualification to the 2024 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup in October, to be held in the Dominican Republic.
We have everyone in camp. All the key players from the school teams are here. So we have a good team from schools, Talanta Hela, Chapadimba. So we are hoping to build a very strong team that is going to compete against Ethiopia. I think we are prepared because most of our players have been competing at the highest level locally. So hopefully they will rise up to the task ahead. So I am hopeful that we have a great team that is going to play well, even though we did not play in the previous round.
Real Madrid came away with a draw in the first leg of their Champions League semi-final tie with Bayern Munich at the Allianz Arena. Real Madrid's Vinicius Jr. opened the scoring and leveled with a late penalty after second-half goals from Bayern Munich, Leroy Sané and Harry Kane. The first leg leaves the finally balanced for the return on Wednesday at the Bernabeu to decide who goes to the final on the 1st June at Wembley. Here are the details.
Bayern Munich drew 2-2 at home to Real Madrid in the opening leg of the Champions League semi-final. Having had 6 shots and over 60% of possession in the first 20 minutes, the best of the chances falling to Leroy Sané and Harry Kane, Bayern Munich were behind against the run of play. Control of the game switched hands as Bayern had failed to take advantage of their early dominance before Vinicius Jr. was played in behind by a clever Toni Kroos through ball. Vinicius Jr. took advantage of Bayern Munich defender Kim Min-jae, beating him for pace and slotting a shot past goalkeeper Manuel Neuer for the opening goal in the 24th minute. But a ruthless 4-minute period in the second half turned the game around and Bayern Munich regained their momentum. Leroy Sane struck a thunderous effort inside the near post in the 53rd minute, cancelling out Vinicius Jr.'s opening goal. England captain Harry Kane netted a penalty of his own, beating goalkeeper Andre Lunin in the 57th minute after Jamal Musiala was stripped by Lucas Vazquez in the box. Kim Min-jae pulled a needless tag on Rodrigo's shot in the 83rd minute in the box, and Vinicius Jr. scored the resulting penalty. The first leg leaves the tie finely balanced for the return of the second leg on Wednesday at Santiago Bernabeu to decide on June 1 who goes to the final on 1st June at Wembley. Reporting for GBS TV, I am John Kinyanjui.
And that sports news brings us to the end of our news segment tonight. As always, here at GBS News at 9, we make your news our business. My name is Beatrice Njeri. Our sign language interpreter is Paul Mathenge. Good night.
Everywhere. GBS.